because I fully believe that we are creators. We create our own world, our own universe, and the power of visualization is absolutely everything. So I don't get on the stage. I don't deliver a presentation. I don't do anything until I visualize how I want the outcome to be. And usually it comes down to a feeling. So how I want to feel after I've connected with somebody. And I always take a second to check in before I meet with people to really reset and make sure that I am being given a gift of being in front of this person at this particular juncture in time. That gift goes two ways. I know what I'm offering them with the seer, and I'm so excited about how they can change my life by just knowing them. So when you really set yourself up and visualize the feelings of how things are going to end, I can tell you with absolute certainty, nearly 100% of the time, it finishes that way. Even if someone's saying no, you've still built rapport, got a relationship, and potentially an open door to go back and follow up with them. So people follow people. You've probably heard that before. They don't actually follow companies and products, even though it seems reasonable that they would. They follow people, they follow you. You're essentially selling yourself, and that's where the rapport building is really important. So when you think about being present with people, there's so many distractions in this day and age. And it's really important, as I mentioned before, if you're going to spend time with someone, show up 100%. Now, I'm not always perfect with this, but I know the times that I'm not perfect, I walk away feeling disappointed in myself that I didn't show up 100% because they deserved it. When people are taking their time to come out on Zoom webinars and you're not going to show up 100%, or you're not checking in to seeing how you're feeling. If you're tired, it takes that much time to change your energy, to change from being tired. And yeah, we all get tired and we all have days where they don't run as smoothly as other days, but it is just a decision that we can make so quickly to be able to realign our energy, to be able to be present with people, because they deserve that. I love this quote from Tyler. You've probably heard it. He says, "The only person that matters is the one standing right in front of you." And that's true. It just reiterates this point about helping people to feel special as well when they meet you, and that all comes down to this rapport building. So as I mentioned, if you're not feeling so great before going to a room or picking up the phone or getting on a webinar or doing a training, whatever it might be, a really fun way to get your energy up is to have a really profound and compelling COI. If you're not really, and we all develop our COI and deepen it over time. You may have heard Mal Sword, Ambassador Triple Diamond out here. His why when he first joined ASEA 4 years ago was to be able to afford a pair of sunglasses. Now, for some people, we start out with really small goals, depending upon how much that roller coaster ride has taken us on sharp bends and on some steep journeys. Sometimes people get beaten up. It's life. It's just the way it is. So when you develop and revisit your COI, it's a really phenomenal motivational tool to understand the gift that you're offering to somebody, because people don't care what you do, they care why you do it. And a really fun process that I went through recently that I hadn't found before, some of you may know about it, it's called 7levelsdeep.com, the number 7, and it asks you 7 questions that will help you to really easily and quickly in 10 minutes really determine if your COI is worthy of you, and it's big enough to get you out of bed to know that yes, ASEA is a cause and a mission bigger than all of us, but when you're in touch with your COI, people are going to buy into that. That's the leadership potential. That's why people will follow you. So revisit your COI and read it before you pick up the phone or talk to people. Listen to some upbeat music, dance if you need to, do whatever you need to do to get into state. That's what Tony Robbins would say. So yeah, what's your attitude like? A lot of people, I mentioned before, there's emails coming in and there's WhatsApp and there's text messages and there's so much happening in society today. It's really, really easy to get distracted. It's an easy exercise I've been doing for 20 years. It's called the distraction drill. You read a a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs, you get as far as when you stop and get distracted, put a 1 down, read again until you get distracted, put a 2 down. It's called a distraction index drill, and just keep doing it every day. It takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however much time you've got to spend on it. But if you are someone who's easily distracted, you don't want to be showing up in front of people that way, because that 93% nonverbal communication, if you're easily distracted, people can read into that you're being rude and inconsiderate, not interested in them. And it can really take your rapport building down the toilet, when that may not even be your intention. It's just you're someone who's easily distracted. So do the distraction index drill and have fun with it. So put your phone away, or put it on vibrate mode, or switch it off, because showing up for people 100% means showing up for them 100%. It's not about having your phone there and answering, stepping out of a time with people and answering the phone or returning text messages. If you're going to take your time to be with someone, be with them. Eye contact's really important. So make sure your eye contact is spot on. It tells so much about you, where you're coming from, and how much you value the people that you're talking to. Now, it's pretty common I do it every now and then. I'm aware of it, but I talk over the top of other people. There's all sorts of reasons for that. Just develop some awareness if you do it, and stop doing it, because you're not giving that person the space to fully be all of who they are in that environment if you're talking over the top of them. So some of you may have heard of match and mirroring. So we naturally mirror those we feel a connection to. And this is a NLP and neuro-linguistic programming type of concept. It really works. It's not manipulative unless you're going to use it in a manipulative way. What I mean by that is, if you're meeting with someone who has a really high energy, increase your energy to match. That's part of that nonverbal communication. If they're excited to see you, be excited to be with them. If their energy is low and you're coming in like a crazy person and you're completely out of vibrational alignment with where they're at in that moment, just chill out, just calm yourself down a little bit, observe their energy level and match it. Then you're in simpatico. You've got the rapport happening. If they talk with their hands, which I do, then talk with your hands too. Just become an observer and do that. If they raise or lower your voice with theirs. So these are some of these things you may need to work on. Some people may think, oh, that just sounds really manipulative. It's not at all. Like I said, it's the intention in which you use it, but I can guarantee if you start to observe these things, your rapport building will go through the roof, and it'll be so much fun. So if they've got a really strong handshake, don't crush their hand, or don't give a limp handshake. This is a given, right? We all know this, but match their handshake, and be sure to also match their eye contact. So mimic their breathing patterns and their posture. So I'll give you some examples in a minute, but if you're sitting across the table from someone and your arms are crossed, if you cross your legs and it's away from the person you're sitting next to, then just energetically, you're not going to be in alignment with them. NLP can go down really some deep rabbit holes, I've got to say. People watch skin texture changing color. There's a whole ability to tell if people are lying from this type of practice, but generally speaking, if you observe them, their tempo, their tone, their posture, if they're sitting forward, sit forward, if they're sitting back, sit back. It's just a really fun way to have fun with people. This example up here, you can see that they're all building great rapport. The message here is they know each other, but you sort of get a sense that they're in sync with each other. Looks like the lady at the end and this lady to the right-hand side, they're matching each other really well in terms of potentially tone and energy levels. And this lady here, she's leaning in, she's interested. This lady's holding her own space, she's still engaged. So this is a really fun environment. If it's more of a professional type setting like this, for example, there's still eye contact, she's still leaning toward the person who's explaining something to her. And yet again, this may be really second nature for a lot of you, so you can take this a little bit further, but it's a great time just to check in to see what you're doing anyway. walk into a room with a smile. I mean, we're not walking into a lot of rooms with each other right now, but even on Zoom, wherever you're at, walk in with a smile, give that firm handshake if that's what's being delivered on your end, and have great eye contact. When we're at events, or even if you're online on Zoom, the way we sit really communicates a lot about our support for the person who's talking. We have a lot of people, when we had live events, they're on telephones, they're stepping in and out of the room, and some of that's cultural with some of the other cultures out here, but the message is support the person who showed up for you, and give them that support non-verbally by paying attention, giving them eye contact, and having an open body posture where you're sitting up straight and listening, and smile and have fun. This here, in terms of putting the arms behind the head, it can really be one of arrogance, but it can also be one of relatability. So there's other factors that come in if it's an arrogance type posture. But if someone's doing that, do it. You will be blown away with how much rapport you'll build with somebody doing that. If they've got their legs crossed a certain way, cross your legs a certain way. Yeah, I know we're on Zoom now, so just given the climate that's happening in society, so it's going to be more tone and facial expression and those type of breathing and energy levels, as opposed to potentially this. But it's just to show you some examples of what you can do. These people, they're mirroring each other really beautifully. They've got the eye contact, they've got everything going. Now, some of you may have heard of Alan Peace. He's an Australian that's been in the network marketing profession realm for a long time, 30 years, I think. Bart and I went and did a fun body language course with him last week. It was just last year, it was just a one night thing. But he said, if you stand like that with your hands exactly in this posture as this gentleman here, it's a pose and a posture, it's certainty, it's power, it's relaxation, it's confidence. So if you don't know really what to do with your hands when you're in this environment speaking with people, then do that, and it will make you feel empowered and powerful as well. So that's something to keep in mind. You're not piquing interest in this scenario at all. You've gone too far, or they simply don't care to hear about what you want to talk about. So the last thing we want is to keep talking. And no doubt, as I have been, you've possibly been with associates in situations where the people that they're talking to do this. If obviously folded arms is it's a very direct signal that it's a defensive posture. They don't like what you're talking about. They're not sure. They've still got more questions that need answering. This gentleman down here, when someone rubs their collar like that, it means that they're really uncomfortable about what they're saying. So if you're doing that, or if you're taking a gulp swallowing when you're talking to people, it delivers the message that you're not at all comfortable with what you're talking about. So just develop awareness and reduce it or stop doing it. But in this scenario here, ask an open-ended question. Just completely stop in your tracks. If someone already has this body posture, just stop and ask them and bring them out. Ask an open-ended question about themselves or about what you've been talking about. Your goal is to help change their body language through engagement. Maybe they've got some objections that you can just directly ask them about. You know, I'm not sure if this is something that may be of interest to you. Do you mind if I ask what you've loved about what you've heard so far? Or is there something I just haven't covered that's really important to you that I can help you with right now? Or whatever it might be, ask an open-ended question to get the other people or person engaged. Yet again, take a genuine interest in them. You've all heard the expression, people don't care about how much you know until they know about how much you care. So ask thoughtful and insightful questions. For those of you who've been in this profession for a long time, the old acronym, which is still relevant today, is ask form questions. Ask people about their family, their occupation, what they love to do for fun, their recreation. And then when you've asked those type of questions appropriately and at the right time, that's when you would have built rapport and you can deliver your ASEA message, why you're there, what you would like them to take a look at. That's when you can deliver the message and start to uncover their needs, their wants? Are they looking for a plan B? Are they in a situation where they need to replace their income? Are they unwell and they seriously need the foundational benefits of these molecules? So it's common for us to think about what we're going to say next, as opposed to focusing solely on them. But if you catch yourself when you're maybe doing some body postures that aren't building rapport, have fun with it. Don't judge yourself. Don't be critical. Don't treat yourself worse than how you would treat your best friend. Take a few deep breaths and then watch the response when you get back on track with building rapport through your nonverbal communication. So this goes without saying, but not everyone does it. You're all about them. You're not showing up, as I said before. This isn't about you. It's never been about you. You're there to deliver this message. It's about them. How can a seer serve them? How can you serve them? How can you help to change their lives? And when you shine a spotlight on them by really paying attention to what their needs are, by actively listening, which means be quiet. If you say something, you can even count to 5 afterwards and wait for a response. In that gap, there's a lot of uncomfortableness from some people who jump into that 5 seconds and feel the need to talk. So just stop and listen. Empathize with people. So if someone particularly has gone through an experience that you can relate to, a really simple network marketing profession type of response when it comes to empathizing, the joys of working at home. I've got my dog here who doesn't leave me alone, lucky me. But the empathize is feel. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. This is what I found. And that's particularly important when it comes to handling objections, but only if you can truly empathize and relate based on your experience. Even if you haven't had that experience, still definitely empathize and let people know that they're being listened to. You can repeat for clarification too. So maybe somebody is talking about, sorry, Bart's just coming in to get the dog. Thanks. Maybe somebody has defensive body language and their arms are crossed, they're looking away, they're not interested. You broach the subject of the network marketing profession, and maybe it's an opportunity for you to say to them, I don't know if I'm spot on with this or not, but it looks like maybe you haven't had such a great experience with this profession in your past, or maybe you know some people who haven't had the best experience. And that's yet again asking an open-ended question, but you want to repeat to make sure that you really understand what you're hearing. And sometimes you need to read between the lines about what they're actually saying, because they may not come straight out with it. Tyler Norton is brilliant at repeating for clarification. He does it beautifully. And when he repeats for clarification, you know with no doubt at all that he has listened to every word that you've said, and that he truly understands it at a high level that maybe you didn't even realize at the time, because you were talking your way through finding out what you were really feeling and what you really meant. Tyler's a master, and it's one of the reasons why we all love him so much, because he is incredible when it comes to building rapport. Give genuine compliments. It's easy for women to compliment each other on what they're wearing or their jewelry or whatever, but it's got to be genuine. Don't make something up, because non-verbally, they'll know you're lying. That 1/10 of a second for trustworthiness. If you're open with a compliment and your body language is showing that it's not genuine, then you've lost them, and don't go there. So the other thing too, it's about when you've built rapport with someone, be accountable. You want to continue to be able to take that rapport you've built to the next level. So I am of a philosophy: don't talk to anyone about a seer if you're not prepared to be a professional, and follow up when you said you would. It's inexcusable in my mind. We are professionals, network marketing professionals. So if you say to someone, I'm going to call you at Monday morning at this time, call them Monday morning at that time, or reach out and let them know that you'll need to reschedule. So always be professional. It goes without saying, but a lot of people really struggle with follow-up. Find another opportunity when you're building rapport to build even more rapport. Hopefully through the process, you have found some similarities, you've found some things in common, and invest in those commonalities. Because the idea is you want to be able to book a meeting from a meeting. You want to be able to pique interest enough to create an opportunity to send some information, and then an opportunity where you've already predetermined that you're following up with them at a certain time on that information. You know, if I sent you this, would you watch it? How about I follow up with you on Friday morning, or is Friday afternoon better? You always want to take the rapport you've built and take it to a next level where you're booking ahead the next catch up with them. I'm a big fan in only sending people what they ask for. It's easy when you join a SEA and you send them so much stuff. Part of the distraction index I was talking about earlier, people are distracted. If you don't know what to send them, ask whomever you're in front of. Just simply ask them. Certain personality types like different types of information. I've got a lot of controller in me. I don't like being around people who waffle on and don't get to the point, and I want the facts. So if someone asks me, hey, I get the idea that you really love facts, and if they are in my presence, maybe I dress a bit more conservatively, they'll potentially know that I'm a controller type personality, and I know I'm going off on personalities here, so I'll just talk briefly about it. But they'll know, they'll get the idea, get to the point, please, and only send me what I've asked for. And that's really important. So don't overwhelm people. Keep them definitely in the loop with what's going on. If they say, look, you know, not interested, this is not for me, don't really care about the molecules, I'm doing something else, be sure to always stay in touch with them. You've built rapport, you've got an investment there. Hopefully you genuinely want to see them again. And trust me, there's some people you won't genuinely want to see again. So make that decision, because you are in a position where you get to choose who you work with and who you want to build a future with. You drag people in, you've probably heard, you drag them around. You don't want to do that. So when you keep people in the loop, you just say to them, hey, would it be okay if I followed up with you in a few months' time and let you know how I've been going? Would it be okay if I sent you some really great information on some new studies that are released, or some that have been done in the past that I think may interest you? So just goes without saying, but keep them in the loop, or just leave them alone. They're not ready for now. And I think the main thing with rapport building too is it's easy to get a little bit overwhelmed if you're watching body language and you don't want to sit there and go, oh no, you know, my eye contact's this, or I'm breathing too heavily, or, as I said, judge yourself. You can't wait for everything to be perfect before you decide to enjoy your life. And the whole process of rapport building is just go out there and enjoy the presence of the people that you're around. I've got more of a spiritual sort of religious background. So for me, my goal, it's along the lines of the visualization thing. And I pull myself up on it all the time. If I'm not feeling present with people, I look into their eyes and I want to see their spirit. I want to see what they're made of, and I want to be in awe of who I'm in front of, because I genuinely care for them and I genuinely am excited to witness their spirit and who they are. And may work for some people, it may not, but there's an ancient it's a method, I guess. It's called the Teiku, and it's basically saying, I recognize the God, the spirit in you. And when you show up with that type of attitude and you look into their eyes and you see them, it's like in Avatar, you know, that movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. When you see someone, they know you see them, and you don't have to see them in a threatening way where they feel overpowered or overwhelmed. But when you're genuinely all of who you are, which is a massive gift. Nobody can do a better job of being you than you can. You're offering that to somebody else. And the magic is you're there ready to discover the magic and the amazing spirit and qualities of the people that you're in front of. Even if you don't like the people you're speaking to, try this out. Try this Teiku out. Just look at them and go, you know what? I'm going to do a reset here, because I'm going to find the goodness in you. I'm going to find the magic in you. I'm going to find what's amazing in you. And Maybe you're already doing a lot of that, and maybe there's a few bits and pieces that you can have fun with that I mentioned, but rapport building is a lot of fun. And then when you introduce different personality types, say the analyticals who just want the compensation plan and the figures and they're dressed conservatively, or the promoter type personalities who wear vibrant colors and they want to have fun. They want to see the convention videos. They want to, I'll just stop the share. It's my last slide. So they want to see the convention videos. They want to know there's a great family environment. And then there's the supporters. I've got a lot of supporter in me. I love the Advancing Life Foundation. I love to be able to support people where they're at and hold a space for them to be who they are. My supporter personality is just as huge as my controller personality. And the reality is we fit in all of them, but just realize who you're building rapport with and have fun. And that's me, Cindy. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh my gosh, Melissa, what a fantastic training. Yeah, you definitely have to be a people person to do this business. If you don't like people, you probably won't like this business very well either. So what a phenomenal training. Let me stop the recording. And if you have some time, maybe you can stick around for some questions. Would that be okay?
Absolutely. I hope I didn't go over, Cindy. I wasn't watching the time.
Perfect timing. Absolutely perfect. Hang on one second.